for coming back. I guess I was really tired. Was I snoring? What's the latest you have ever stayed awake? Have you ever tried really hard to stay up late for something, but you just couldn't stay awake? Today we're going to learn about a time when Jesus was praying in a garden, but his friends, the disciples, just couldn't stay awake. Jesus had just finished having a special meal with his disciples. Now they were on their way to their favorite garden, an olive grove called Gethsemane, so he can pray. When they arrived, 8 of his disciples found a comfortable place to rest. But Jesus went further into the garden with Peter, James, and John, so they could pray with him. Then he went a little further to pray alone. Jesus had a lot to cope with and a very hard choice to make. He wanted to save all the people of the world, but by making that choice, he would suffer terribly. He knew that he would be beaten, lied on, and treated unfairly. Even though it was a costly choice, it would be worth it. He wanted his closest friends to help him pray for strength. But guess what? They were asleep. Not 1 time. Not 2 times. But 3 times. So they were no help. So Jesus was left alone. Jesus asked God if it would be possible for him not to go through the pain and suffering. He called it a bitter cup. But God knew that Jesus loved us too much to lose us all to Satan. Suddenly, a group of soldiers arrived with one of Jesus' disciples. His name was Judas, but we don't talk about Judas. Suddenly, the sleeping disciples were awake, and Judas betrayed Jesus with a kiss on the cheek, and the soldiers knew who they were about to arrest. The disciples were angry and shocked with all that was happening, but Jesus wasn't. He knew the task ahead. He was headed to the cross. As I was telling the story, you may have seen me pushing the pencils through the bag, but it didn't break. This shows that even though Jesus was born to die for our sins, he did it willingly. Him praying in the Garden of Gethsemane shows us that it wasn't an easy job. He could have easily broke and skipped being abandoned, betrayed, denied, and insulted. But he put God's plan ahead of his comfort and completed the mission. He did it with his whole heart, knowing that God would be with him. As Jesus was praying that night, he told God that even though he knew what he was about to go through would be painful, he would do it if it was his will. Are you willing to do what God asks of you? Can you stay awake and say, "Not my will, God, but yours be done"? This is Sister Nike, your virtual global classroom teacher, reminding you that prayer helps us put God's way before our way. So stay awake. Don't forget to invite a friend to class next week. I love you. Bye.